Hello, thank you so much for joining us today on our next episode of the Operator Series featuring ClearStem. My name is Marina Galemis. I'm the SVP of North American Sales here at ShipBob, and it is my great pleasure and honor to sit down today with Marc Smookler, Chief Operations Officer at ClearSTEM Skincare. Just to give you a brief intro on Marc, Marc's an accomplished founder, an entrepreneur with a track record of building and scaling market-leading companies across diverse industries with a passion for innovation and a knack for driving growth. Marc, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. And if you're not familiar with ClearStem, ClearStem is a pioneering luxury skincare brand founded with a mission to offer clean, non-toxic, science-based solutions. ClearStem partnered with ShipBob about 4 years ago and has since grown an astounding 6,000%, shipping hundreds and thousands of orders. So Marc, why don't you take us back to the beginning? How did ClearStem come to life and what inspired you to join the team?
Yeah, good question. I guess we'll start at the beginning, right? So I was introduced to ClearStem over 2 years ago now. And the origination, let me first talk about how I got introduced to ClearStem, and then I can sort of come back to the origination story. So one of my VP of sales in one of my existing companies, or one of my old companies, was on an airplane ride between LA and Austin, Texas, and sat next to Danielle Granich, who's the founder and CEO of ClearStem. As the story goes, she was reviewing some financial documents on her computer, and this person, Chaz Branham, being a sales guy, obviously just dove right in, started talking with her, and one thing led to the other, and I found myself first on a phone call, then a Google Meet, and then I flew into LA to meet with Danielle and Kaylee to go over what they had cooking at ClearStem, and it was fascinating to begin with, right? So they had this super fast growing startup called ClearStem, and the metrics, the KPIs were all looking amazing. And their origination story was amazing as well. They started, originally it was Kaylee and Danielle meeting at Danielle's acne clinic in San Diego. She is an esthetician. She's been cooking up in the lab, so to speak, a lot of these formulas and using them on people and seeing the benefits and really helping people for, she's close to a decade now. And Kaylee was one of her customers, and Kaylee was suffering from acne. And there's a whole bunch of content on this, so people can always look at, all of this stuff online as well. But one thing led to the other, and they started sort of talking about a conversation. We need to bring this to more people. We need to educate more people on this really healthful way of approaching acne, while at the same time addressing aging as well in a non-toxic, clean solution. And one thing led to the other, where they started to scale up and sell more and more on Amazon, and then launched a Shopify store. And fast forward a few years, and then they got intro to me. And so for the past, call it 2.5 years, I've been working closely with them. Obviously my role as COO to helping really build and scale the company. And it's been quite a ride, to say the least.
Yeah, it's such a remarkable story. We had the pleasure of having Kaylee speak at our conference this year, Fulfilled, and she told us the story. And I think, everyone was just so engrossed in it because it was just so authentic and so natural, the way that they came together. And it feels like really kind of serendipitous the way you kind of joined the company. So that's awesome.
And you can feel that authenticity, right? You can feel when, there's a true origination story, right? Where like they were the customer, right? They themselves suffered from acne. I also, suffered from acne. I've had multiple regimens of Accutane, and I get ingrown neck hairs, and I've suffered from it for many years, and I still do to this day. And one of the things that really just hooked me at the end is when I went out to LA and I talked about sort of my struggle with acne. They recommended using this clarity serum that they have, that they recommended that I put on at night. So I started putting it on at night, and lo and behold, here I am, right? And, whereas before, right, I used to have to pull up my collar. I used to, have to certain points, cancel meetings, right? Because I believe that, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? And so like, you have to be clean. You have to be, clean shaven, present yourself well, especially in my role and what I do. And it was impacting not just my personal life, but my professional life. And so I started to use the Clarity Serum, and it helped. And I mean, it's a shock to me, right? For somebody at my age to still be suffering from that. And a product, after I've tried, again, Accutane and microneedling and laser treatments on my neck, I've tried everything. And then lo and behold, here's this startup, out of LA and San Diego that has this Clarity Serum that's like this magical thing. And it's crazy. So, there's the high efficacy of the product. And with all the KPIs and everything, it was a slam dunk for somebody like me.
Incredible. I love that you were a customer before you even joined the company.
Yep.
So, I think every successful operator has a really unique story. No one starts at the top. So what personal experiences have shaped your journey and success in the e-commerce world?
Yeah. So from Minnesota originally, and went to business school, University of Minnesota Carlson School. And my journey started as an investment banker. First in the Twin Cities at US Bancorp Piper Jaffray, and then in New York at JP Morgan Chase. And I got pulled out of that world from one of my friends who had a number of startups that he exited and then wanted me to join him on a startup in LA. And so that was sort of the beginning of my transition. But what I'll say as one of the benefits of starting my journey as an investment banker is sort of this allegiance or this understanding of the benefit and the having sort of the strong base in analytics and in financial prudence, if you will, and really just helping me be data driven as I've sort of gone through my journey as an entrepreneur. And I think that's really important. As I've gone through then the world of startups, and I've had a number of startups, both successes and failures as it goes. What I've really focused on as an entrepreneur is just, on the execution side, and then really surrounding myself with people that I can vibe with, people that I enjoy working with, and people that sort of have the same energy, the same values when it comes to business, and making sure that the people that I bring in are just A players, right? And I only want to work with A players, and I work really hard to try to find those people, to recruit, and to just help level up and manage those people as well. So again, yes, our journeys are all unique, for better, for worse. And I think for me, being that and having that sort of strong investment banker background, a focus on being data driven, focus on execution, and building sort of playbooks as sort of the years have progressed of both failure and success, and then just recognizing, what I look for in people that I want to work with, I think is sort of really important to me.
Yeah, that's crucial. I mean, of course, we all know the people we surround ourselves with will make or break our success. But I also think it's fascinating that you saw what great looked like at the investment banker level. And so you knew what you were working towards with these startups, right? You knew what the end goal was, whereas some folks are just kind of taking it step by step and trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So I was on one side looking at these companies, looking at these poor founders, these startup people. And, here I am as an analyst, trying to determine if they're going to be successful or not, right? With a limited set of analysis and tools and experience, right? And, now being in it for many years and actually building and being on the creation side, it's just a very different, well, I mean, it's totally different, right? But again, like having that ability to look at from an investment. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. So just giving some more color, I guess.
I love it. Awesome. Well, let's talk about one of my favorite topics, the complexity of supply chains. So I think we can all agree over the last few years, especially, the supply chains have become increasingly more complex. Can you walk us through some strategies that you've implemented to manage your supply chain effectively in this kind of new world we're all in?
Yeah. So when I first came on board, look, when you're a startup, you obviously there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think that, ClearStem, when I first started, was definitely single threaded, as you will, for, having one supplier, one manufacturer, et cetera. And that obviously creates a lot of risk. and it's not necessarily that important in the beginning because you're just sort of ramping up, and you want to focus with one person so that you can partner up pretty tightly on execution so that you don't have a lot of balls in the air, obviously. But one of the things that I did when I first came on board was bring full-time a director of supply chain, which obviously helps a lot. Somebody that has full ownership and accountability of delivering the product on time, at the quality that it's expected. And then that's just on the manufacturing side, but then also obviously with the tight integration, obviously we work with ShipBob, and making sure that's a tight integration with Shopify as well. Shopify Plus is what we use for the e-com store. So, the first thing to de-risk was really to bring on ownership, somebody that can manage that whole process. The next thing that's been really important for us is diversifying our suppliers and our supply chain. So making sure that we're not held hostage by one supplier and the decisions that they make, or if they make a mistake, or if they're behind, or if something gets contaminated, or if they're not able to get a certain ingredient on time, you name it. So we've worked really hard to diversify our manufacturer and suppliers, if you will, for all of our products, which has helped significantly so that we're not held hostage. And we also have redundancies. And we also have making sure that even just on the ingredient side and the packaging side, all of these things, so that we're not just having single sources and it doesn't delay it, because that's a huge impact, right? So if, let's say, one of our top sellers, one of the ingredients is backed up on a manufacturer, right? We can quickly go to another supplier or manufacturer and get that rolled off, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. And then also, with that is just building, really good, strong relationships with them. So making sure that we have open lines of communication, making sure that we have, we can proactively solve any issues so that we're not being reactive last minute, and that, backs things up, making sure that we have really good contracts in place, so that it's really clear that if a mistake is made, who's to blame, so that we don't really spend time pointing fingers or worrying about any of that stuff. It's just crystal clear up front. And I think that's been critical and important for us. Also, I can keep on going. Next thing, strategic partnership with ShipBob has been important for us as well, right? So, expanding out to different distribution centers has been important, especially as in this age of Amazon shipping everything prime, the expectations have been reset on when people expect their products, right? And so making sure that we have close alignment with ShipBob and how tightly they integrate with our supply chain and Shopify has been very important for us, making sure that we get, the products out fast, on time, making sure that, they're not missing products within the shipment has been really important for us as well. And then just generically speaking, making sure that we have really good data on the inventory management side, and making sure that we have, tracking for the demand and the trends, that we're aware of historically where we see spikes or not, and making sure that we're running that, inventory management pretty tight so that we're not over purchasing, under purchasing, and, having overstock situations, you name it. So all of that is important. And then making sure that we have, flexible and agile logistics, throughout all of that stuff is really important.
Yeah. That's great. And I think, with a business like yours, it's so crucial that you do have those redundancies and those fail safes in place, because your customers can't miss a dose, right? Like if they're on a prescribed plan, like the efficacy of that plan is going to be contingent on them always having product. So it's not just great business practice to always be able to get your product to your customer on time, but it's also really important for them and their results and outcomes, which I know you guys are so bought into.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time, energy, effort, and money, to acquire a new customer and to get them bought in and trust a brand or trust a company with something important as to their skin health, if you will, and how they present themselves. And if we run out of stock for something that's critical for the regimen, they will go elsewhere, and we will lose that customer. We will lose that trust, and that significant investment in nurturing will be gone, right? And so it's critical. right? We need to have those products.
Absolutely. It's a great segue into our next question about the cost of acquiring new customers. It is at an all-time high. And I think from an experienced operator like you, maybe somebody out there who's just trying to get their business off the ground is really daunted by this high cost. So how do you balance this cost of customer acquisition and still maintain profitability and growth?
Yeah, this is where, being data-driven is critical, and being honest with yourself and the team around you of what you're willing to spend to acquire a customer, and not having that sticker shock, right? Sometimes we have that sticker shock of saying, oh my God, I'm spending so much money of acquiring a net new customer, right? And there's a difference between focusing on, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to, spend our time, energy, and effort and capital on acquiring new customers, or we're going to spend our time on getting repeat purchases of existing customers and retention, whatever it might be. So for us, it's definitely a land grab. We definitely have a strong focus right now on acquiring net new customers, which is more expensive. And just being honest with, everybody in the room, if you will, of what are we willing to spend on that? And what are we willing to acquire a net new customer? And being able to answer that question, you need to be clear on what the lifetime value of a customer is, right? And how many times do they purchase? And what is the customer that comes into the funnel? What do their key characteristics look like for the people that do repeat, right? Because not everybody repeats. But for us, it's, we get a repeat customer purchasing, 50 to 60%, which is insanely high. Wow. I haven't seen that in my world, right? So that's, again, one of the KPIs that got me really excited about ClearStem and, this amazing thing that they have going here. And because of that richness, if you will, and the efficacy and the strong product market fit that really gives you a lot of flexibility in the things that you can do and invest in, and being aggressive on the land grab. So again, focusing on, customer retention is so important. And by focusing and being clear on what your lifetime value is and how you retain your customers really can get you to be more bullish, more willing to overspend on the customer acquisition side. Also, being really clear on optimizing these acquisition channels. And I think that's where, being led with data, making sure that you understand who the customers are, making sure that you dial in the personalization, because not every kit is going to work the same way or, be as successful or get the same hook for, every single person. So being clear on the demographics, who these people are, what they've clicked on, their journey through the website, et cetera. So being really clear on making sure that you serve up the most ideal pages and products to the right people. So customization is critical, I think, and making sure that if you're going to spend $1, make sure that it's optimized. And then just making sure that you activate all channels. I don't think you can be heavy on just one thing. And we saw this in sort of our journey, right? You do have to have this omni-channel approach, right? You can't just say, okay, we're going to just do Instagram, right? And I think that's fine when you're doing a startup and you're coming out the gate. I don't think you can push on every single one of the platforms. I think you just need to say, okay, understanding, TikTok trends younger, Instagram is more millennial, if you will. Facebook and Plus is sort of getting in my age groups. But being clear, okay, our product, I think, is best fit for this age group. This age group is most represented or best represented on this platform. And so as we're sort of doing this lean methodology or testing the market, let's push all in on this platform and see if we get any take. But I think as you scale and you get bigger, you have to push on all things, right? Because they all feed off each other. You need to have that omni-channel approach. And for us, it's so multifaceted at this point, ranging from having to do podcasts and master classes and pushing, long form content on education, on, why ClearStem versus other, and what's so important about the ingredients that we use, and, our pore clogging checker, which is such a key marketing thing that we do for our community, when they're using any skincare products or makeup or hair products, or you name it, right? Are there any pore clogging ingredients, right? And so that's so critical for us in our community.
Mhm.
But again, that's just one component, right? And then events, and then of course we just did our first TikTok live, and so pushing on TikTok, and
How did that go
all of
for
the,
you guys?
it was amazing, right? It
Yeah.
was our first one, and right
Mhm.
now there's a lot of brands jumping on TikTok and seeing what it's
Yeah.
all about, and so there's a lot of noise. Um, but there is a best practice, and we're dialing that in, and then we brought on an exceptional team that has experience doing it, that knows what the playbook looks like. And so
Mhm.
again, you have to be running 10, 20 things concurrently for everything to work and be optimized. And so again, sorry, I went a little bit long on optimizing acquisition
Oh, I
channels,
love
but
it.
it's you want to make sure, we've been in situations where, okay, we don't have podcasts this month, or we're not doing master classes, or we're not running on all cylinders, and then we get top heavy on what paid media. So now paid media is 40% of bringing on new customers, and that's expensive. Now we're overpaying for people, whereas it should be 20% or what we're used to, right? And so again, like, you just have to make sure all is running, and that can be exhausting, but that's what it takes, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? What I will say is I think education has been in ClearStem's DNA, right? Like you guys have such a strong brand identity and you've been doing education so well for so long. I would say better than most, that there's a lot of natural, that's a natural transition to TikTok. So I'm not surprised that you guys killed it on your first live because you have created this incredible community around the brand.
Yeah, and that education is led by our two founders,
Hmm.
Kaylee and Danielle, and I think that's been so critical to our growth, and again, building on this authenticity and engagement with the community. And that, with obviously, as I've said before, product market fit has led to these amazing before and afters, and people becoming sort of our brand ambassadors out in the field for us, right? And again, I think, you know this education, and being, front and center, and having these before and afters, all of that stuff has really helped us build this strong brand identity as well, that significantly helps, right, in all the things that we do on the marketing side. And yeah, it's been great. Just the community aspect is fun and interesting to see. In my 20 years now of being an entrepreneur, I've never seen that, right? I've never experienced that, the ripple effect of what a strong community can really help and deliver and raise all ships, if you will.
Yeah, I love that. It's incredible. So let's talk about peak season, right? Because it's coming right up to us. It's hard to believe we just wrapped up summer and here we are
Yeah.
talking about the holidays, but it's right around the corner. And so I want to talk about some of your past experiences with peak seasons. What have you learned past holiday seasons, and what kind of strategies are you incorporating for this holiday season to make it successful?
Yeah. So this is the fastest growing brand and company I've ever been a part of. So it's everything's been a little bit more hectic, making sure that you do exceptional planning early. Um, in my first year, we 4x growth, and that was crazy, right? And so we were running out of stock, and you just can't get ahead of something like that.
Yeah.
So making sure that we really manage customer expectations is critical in that part, right? And so uh, upselling or cross-selling to other products, or giving them an IOU, or making sure that you have crystal clear communication on when the product's going to be coming is important. You can't just do an, give us your email and we'll notify you when it comes in stock. I think you need to do way more than that, especially in the holiday season, because they will go somewhere else. Everybody's doing such amazing discounts. And so you have to continue to be front and center, and making sure that you're managing their expectations. And then, even if you have to overpay, if you will, to get the manufacturer supply chain to deliver products earlier, it's worth it, totally worth it, eating
Mhm.
into the margins. Again, I think you have to continue to focus on optimizing inventory management, which is part of it. And okay, we're 4x, or we see the growth, and as soon as you have early indicators, overbuy, over purchase. It's worth it, even if you are overstocked going into Q1 or Q2 of the next year. It's worth it. just, even if you have to,
Yeah.
Shopify's got that great line of credit. It's not that egregious on the cost. Dip into that. And
Yeah.
I think more founders should, not be afraid of doing that, but dip into it and make sure that you strike while the iron is hot, so to speak, in that Q4 push. For us, also really leaning on, again, the data side. So trying to make some predictions. We have some AI tools that we've used to help us predict, okay, this is what we think the bundles are going to look like, or these are the bundles that we think you should do, or these are the pairings that you should do or promote to really get, these customers that are coming up for their next purchase going. So we did a lot of that stuff. So offering, or tailoring offers to certain segments. And we use Klaviyo, so it makes it easy for us to segment people in Shopify. It's really tight integration, obviously. So having, tailored offerings to those people as well. So again, the more that we can get ahead of it, the more that we can predict as best as we can and be aggressive on our purchasing and putting those bundles together has been, pretty critical. More so with ClearStem just because of the fast growth. So we don't really have that much room for error, if you will, because just everything is just such a fast throughput. And then, again, just making sure that we're maximizing through all of our marketing channels because our competitors are definitely ramping up and definitely cranking through all of those channels. And if we're not also there, then we're just going to miss that opportunity. We're going to miss that, people are ready to spend in that time, and you just got to be cranking fast and hard, all hands on deck.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you just mentioned Klaviyo, you mentioned Shopify a few times, so obviously integral parts of your tech stack. We at ShipBob are so fortunate. We have over 5,000 brands on our platform, so we kind of get a bird's eye view of what's going on. And the one thing that I found to be a leading indicator of success is a really well-connected, well-integrated tech stack. So what other tools or technologies have had a significant impact on your success, and what would you recommend to others?
Yeah, so Shopify Plus is great. I'm a huge fan of Shopify. I was early days on Shopify. I wasn't a fan of BigCommerce or Volution or any of these others that I tried. WooCommerce kind of tried them all, it feels. But Shopify, I'm a big fan of what they're doing, and we use Shopify Plus. As I mentioned, Klaviyo, awesome tight integration, segmenting customers. All their automated flows are great. Big fan of that. ShipBob, obviously tight integration and fulfillment, inventory management. Google Analytics, Triple Whale has been great for us. We've tried a few other really deep attribution tools, but sometimes it's a little bit hit or miss on some of them. But Google Analytics, obviously, in Triple Whale, and we just built some custom dashboards ourselves at this point. We use TapCart for mobile commerce. That's been great. So, we get a number of customers that just go direct to the app, and then we can just message them directly through the app.
Yeah.
We use Gorgeous for customer support. That's been great. We're part of their beta program using AI, which has been great on the email side. So we've been able to faster get them their answers that they need, or get them their tracking number, or get them to the FAQ or whatever it is that they need faster and sometimes better than what we would do ourselves internally. So Gorgeous has been great. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Those are the main ones right now. There's some custom inventory management tools that we use locally on our side through Sal, who's our head of supply chain. But those are the main ones.
Yeah, and I mean, we're partnered with all of these companies. They're fantastic. And it sounds like you guys picked all the category leaders. So no wonder you're seeing the success that you're seeing. So let's talk about 2025. I know we're going to get past this peak. We're all going to crush it. It's going to be amazing. What are we looking forward to in 2025? What are some exciting plans for the future of ClearStem?
Yeah, so we are expanding our product line. We have ambitious plans, so to speak, to add both on the skincare side. We recently added hair care. So shampoo and conditioner, you wouldn't have thought that that would be something that'd be critical to acne. But as we've come to learn through our education, that one of the biggest pore clogging ingredients are those coconut oils, are those shea butters, are those algae. So a lot of those products are put in a lot of conditioners, for instance. And so even myself, right, I use shampoo and conditioner, go to bed at night, and now here I am with conditioner in my hair, and I'm sleeping, and I'm, getting acne or ingrown hairs on my neck, on the back of my neck, on my cheeks and jowls. And lo and behold, it's my conditioner is, one of the contributing factors for that. So we came out with a conditioner that doesn't have any of those pore clogging ingredients. So we will continue to do that as we look at people's skincare routines, beauty routines. What are the biggest contributors to their acne for acne prone people? And bit by bit, we will be going through that chain, if you will, and adding these healthful options that are not going to dry people out, accelerate their aging, if you will, but will also provide, still the emollients that they need and are not clogging their pores, right? So again, like our product roadmap is deep, and it even goes into the supplements that we're seeing. We're doing more and more supplements, and that will continue through 2025. Outside of the product roadmap, we are going to continue to dive deeper and deeper in all of the data that we're collecting and helping to personalize people's experience and their education and how we interact and engage with them, and their custom bundles, their custom kits that we give them, so that they're not getting things that are not best suited for them. So there's going to be continual personalization. And then we are continuing to invest in our omni-channel presence, right? So not just on the marketing side, and today we're a heavy D2C, right, through our online store, but we're starting to ramp up more and more of a retail presence. More to come on that, but we're in Erewhon today. We're one of the top brands in Erewhon, Neiman Marcus, etc. But we will continue expanding that so people will start to see us in more and more shops. And so that'll be a big press for 2025. We're also updating our branding and our packaging. So that's a big thing for us. And then just continuing on our community engagement and our education. So more master classes, more podcasts, more community events, and making sure that we're supporting the people that need it, and we're out and about in front and center so that people feel like we care and that we can empathize. So I think that's going to be critical as well as we look into 2025, things that we're investing in.
I love that. I think it's such an organic evolution, obviously data driven, but also you guys are staying true to the core brand identity, which is incredible. Awesome. So we're getting close to time here. I just want to ask a final bonus question for those maybe starting out their brands right now or some early operators. What advice do you have for those trying to scale their business or just, future aspiring founders?
Yeah, wow, that's a big question. And I get this a lot. I'm a big fan of the lean startup methodology, right? So I think, thinking through what is the MVP, getting something out there, even if it's not perfect, and it's, to be clear, it's never perfect, right? But getting a product out there or a service in front of people and seeing what the take is, seeing if there is excitement, seeing if there's buzz, seeing if people are buying into what you're selling, if they believe in your why, so to speak. And reading the data, right, and seeing, okay, is there potential to product market fit? And if there is, go hard and go fast, right? And making sure that, if you have some early signs of product market fit, making sure that it's, customer centric, it's that it's delivering on the needs, that you're communicating it right, that you're not spending too much time, money, and effort, if you will, into convincing people to buy. And then again, making sure that you're data driven in your approach, and making sure that you use that data driven approach, not just on the marketing side, but in how you make decisions on the product development side, how you communicate, what's working, what's not working, and even just being honest on your target personas, right? And so if your original bet is, okay, we're going to be SMB on this, but SMBs aren't buying and you're seeing more uptick from medium-sized businesses, then that's what you do, right? You lean into that and you look at the data and say, okay, I guess we're going to push up into the medium-sized businesses, and then you course correct. I think, with that lean methodology and this sort of fast fail mentality, be agile, be adaptable. Don't be afraid of, failing, but look at the failure, look at, why this isn't working, and, course correct again and figure out ways that, okay, how can we, look at this failure and find other ways of, getting it to market, or turning on this community, or getting people more excited about this, or, you name it. Also, spend time investing in the brand, right? Making sure that it looks polished, right? That you're putting your best foot forward as best as you can. I'm not saying that you have to go out and hire an expensive branding agency, but, bring your best to market, right? Make sure that you're not misspelling words, like look pro, right? And, make sure that you have another set of eyes on checking things, right? I think that's important, making sure that everybody's got a hand in it, and making sure that if you're doing it, making sure that it's meaningful. If you're going to send out an email, make sure that, there's value in the email, that you're not spamming people, like every step of the way. Just bring your A game, be exceptional, and all of that stuff. And, some of these things are obvious, but like test, iterate, fast fail, all of that stuff. And then I've said this before, but making sure that you surround yourself with a good team. And, sometimes that's hard in the beginning, because in the beginning you're selling hope and you're selling a dream, and that's harder for some people than others. I get it. But as you prove out that product market fit, take out those KPIs or those nuggets of gold, and then use those to help sell people, and just continually find and level up your people. And if people aren't leveling up, then you have to bring in other people that are going to help you get there. Like, find exceptional talent and overreach if you have to, but bring those people in. Be generous on equity. It's always worth it. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of making sure that people that you bring on, especially early days, are generously compensated on the equity side, so that they believe, they're loyal, they match your energy and your desire and drive. I think that's critical in early days. And then, I talk a lot about this in a lot of the content that I put out there, but, hope is a dangerous drug, right? And if it's not working, and you're just continuing to sell hope, hope can pretty quickly lead to lying to people, right? And if you just, putting it out there and saying, oh, we're going to get that, we're just that next contract, or we just need to raise, one more round of funding, or we're, just over the hump. If you continue to say that, you're leading people on at a certain point, and that's becoming that you're lying to people, and then you lose that integrity, you lose that ability to continue to you're just dragging it out, essentially. Yeah. So if you don't have product market fit after a certain amount of time, you're not getting the response that you want or expect, pivot, right? Yep. If you can. And if you can't pivot, then, take an honest look at, is this working or not? And, take a knee, move on. There's always other ideas and opportunities out there. So don't be afraid of that point of failure, right? It happens. It happens a lot. It's happened to me more time than I've had successes.
Of course. Yeah, I think most successful people can say that. And I think, we always say here, fall in love with the problem you're trying to solve, not the product you're trying to solve it with. So I think that goes a long way here. Marc, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're super busy, but I think this was really, really impactful for folks. And I can say very confidently on behalf of ShipBob, we're thrilled to partner with ClearStem. We are obviously rooting for your success and very, very invested, and can't wait to see what next year brings for you guys.
Yep, it's a pleasure working with you folks, and I appreciate the partnership as well.